Alright, bright and sunny day in Adelaide. I've got a Hitachi unit to repair on a commercial site. There's my gear down there. I'm about to rope it up. I've already been here last week and identified that unit there was faulty, so I'll rip the covers off and get stuck into it.
Okay, just put this image in here just to show that this is not a do-it-yourself channel. That's 292 volts DC. That hurts. That can kill you. For those of us that work in this industry, just make sure your isolations are effective and you check for absence of voltage before doing any work.
So just a quick test just to make sure it is dead, which it's not at the moment. I'll turn this power off. And power is off, so I'll check against earth and my neutrals and stuff like that, confirm it is all okay to touch and it's safe. I'll lock it out and isolate it, and away we go. Alright, so there's a few units on site here. At first I was worried this big greasy exhaust was going to be the cause, but no, in the end it just turned out to be faulty outdoor fan motor, but it's destroyed the board. All fuses are okay, I've traced the power through, but the board's just absolutely dead. And I've checked all my other components like compressor, EEV, solenoids. So we've got 2 fan motors to put in today, and this board, the inverter board which sits behind it, is supplying 380 volts DC, which is what it should be doing. So fingers crossed it's only going to be these 2 fan motors and the board. It's quite an expensive repair, but being in a commercial property, it's still more cost effective to repair this than what it is to replace. So I've just remembered I haven't brought all the tools I need to get the fan motors out, so I'm going to have to go for a walk again, but I'll keep you posted. Alright, so I've had a quick look over it. I can't actually see any burn marks or anything, but quite often the fan motors just destroy whatever's going on inside some of these circuits here. You know, maybe in here. So just going to do a quick scan and make sure these boards are identical and make sure all my dip switch settings are the same between the two, otherwise we'll have troubles. So I did end up having to change some of the dip switch settings across the top here. Unfortunately, when they supply boards they don't tell you what the settings are for, so the best we can do right now is copy the dip switch settings across from the old one over to the new and hope that it's going to be okay. Tech support's been pretty poor on this unit, so I was even lucky just to get a fan motor test procedure the other day. So, but I have been able to prove they're faulty at least, and even in the test procedure it does suggest if your fan motors are faulty, it's more than likely destroyed the board, which is what's happened in this case. So, alright, outdoor board's been replaced. I've still got to change out my fan motors, but I forgot to bring my socket up. So I'm going to go grab that from the car. Hopefully I can do these without having to take the top off the unit. So I'll shoot down to the car and grab some gear. Alright, I got my fan motors out. Did have to take the top off the unit. And there's the inverter PCB hiding in behind there. The only test I could do when I was here previously was make sure that was supplying power to the main board, which it was. So making an assumption, which no I shouldn't do, but with limited test procedure we're assuming that's okay. So I'm going to change these out, and worth noting there is a top and bottom fan motor, you can't get them mixed up. So this is my top one, which is that one there, and that's definitely the bottom motor because it's longer lead and a different colour plug. So it's important that you get the motors in the right spot because it's part of condensing and evaporating pressure controls during hot and cold weather. It might cycle one fan off and leave one running at a lower speed, and if you have those fan motors around the wrong way on the board, it's going to run the wrong motor, which means that temperature within that space on the coil is going to be around the wrong way. So got to make sure they're all on there correctly. Alright, fan motors are in. I've still got to put the blades in. I did end up getting some new screws and washers and spacers with the fan motors, so I did actually use the new ones that were supplied. It's really important to put them in. If you don't, you'll break the ceramic ear off the motor, and you know these things cost a lot of money. I've actually seen brand new spare parts from another manufacturer when I ordered these, and they weren't supported in the box, in the carton, and had actually broken through the ears even before I got a chance to get to site and fit them. So keep in mind you have to put those spacers in. Also make sure everything's cable tied, all your wiring. I have seen techs not do that, believe it or not, and they end up having to come back and change things again because the wiring's been ripped out of the unit because it's got caught up in the fan blade. Another quick tip, if you while I'm on the roof, a bit of plastic started blowing around, and you've got to be mindful if that gets caught in the gutter, so you end up with something like that. If that gets caught in the downpipe, next time it rains and this roof can't get the water off the roof and it comes down inside the tenancy, inside the building, simple stuff like that, remove your rubbish from the roof. It's just common sense, basic, common courtesy as well, and you're giving the customer value for money and making sure that everything's done right, so keep it clean. So one thing I might also do, I haven't got it with me, but yeah, come back and give this coil a wash. Just wanted to get the unit up and running firstly. Being this close to this exhaust, all that yummy stuff coming out, it's definitely going to have an impact on the coil on these units here. So yeah, I'll come back and do that another day. We'll get them up and running today because we've got some warm weather coming. Alright, here we are, all done. Motor's been replaced, board, and just running some final checks. Got 9.8 max current draw on this, so we're under, which is good. Paper line's getting a good sweat, nice and cold. So I'll get some gauges on, make sure everything's okay before I leave site. And that's all. See you next time.